Hello, Durud and Shalom. Hi, everyone. Wow, I see the chat is busy already. Well, great to have you guys. Jack is here, Mohsen is here, Unusual AI, Deborah, Drew, Royut. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Flying Robot Dog, Sam is here, Jack, I already said, Nelpani, Stephanie, fantastic. All right, guys, let's just get started right away. How about we just get started? Let me actually put this down and we'll just get, guys. So, I don't need to explain to everybody the latest attacks on Israel are a lot of them are focused on Israel killing journalists. And I'm assuming they have evidence for this, right, guys? Nobody would accuse Israel of a crime without evidence, right? Like I'm assuming that as soon as we look into this, there's going to be plenty of evidence everywhere showing that Israel is on purpose, deliberately, intentionally just going out there and trying to hide the information coming out of Gaza by taking out journalists, as if like Israel's like, hey, it would be a shame if the world constantly accuses us of war crimes. Like the world isn't doing that already, and we want to avoid somebody somewhere accusing Israel of a war crime. So how about we just go and kill journalists so that no information comes out of Gaza? Because guys, we have no idea what's happening in Gaza, right? Like there's no information coming out of Gaza. And the journalists who might be getting us information, Israel is just stopping them to be able to hide all the war crimes that they're committing there, right? And I'm pretty sure that the people who are arguing that there's going to be plenty of evidence showing all of that because people don't make stuff up. There's no such thing as an anti-Jewish hatred. There's no anti-Semitism. People have evidence for their claims. So let's actually go and see what these evidence are. Okay, maybe here, if we watch this, we will get the evidence. Well, let me see. Ginga is here. Jewish Samantha. And Hammer is here. Hammer Injustice. Fantastic. All right. Hey, Amir. Amir is here. Amir, I missed you. Our Russian friend is here as well. Okay, let's go.
Has divided opinion across the world. An IDF missile was aimed deliberately at a tent used by journalists on Sunday. 3 more Al Jazeera journalists were killed, as well as 3 freelancers. The deliberate murder of journalists reporting on a conflict is a war crime. But Israel insists that al-Sharif was the head of a Hamas terrorist cell.
IDF does not target journalists. In this strike from 2 days ago, the IDF targeted a Hamas terrorist, an active Hamas terrorist. His position had a few positions in the Hamas terror organization, but he was part of their rocket brigade. He was the head of a cell in the rocket brigade, and that's who we target. And I think the question is to be asked, why is Hamas and why is Al Jazeera having terrorists on their payroll working as journalists, and why are terrorists also functioning as journalists with press justice? I think that those are questions that need to be very alarming.
Yeah, why are not people, because guys, this journalist is now shown that not only he was Hamas, he was celebrating October 7th. Like, this is why these people are rushing so fast. Like, oh my God, this poor innocent journalist that was taken out by Israel because he was just revealing the truth. Just like if you just waited for a little bit, usually these people have something that if you just wait a tiny bit, just wait a little bit, there's going to be so much revealed about them, and you're like, oh crap, we guys, we supported a terrorist. We support this guy that they're talking about. He was actually, his posts are still up celebrating October 7th. He has a picture with Yahya Sinwar holding him and being so happy, so cheery, like as if he's meeting his hero. This guy was working with Hamas, for Hamas. Again, I don't know what passes as journalism this day, but doing propaganda for Hamas does not make you a journalist. In fact, it makes you the enemy. It makes you part of the war. It makes you a legitimate target, right? So let's continue.
And we need to ask them about what's going on in Gaza.
Well, the UN, Reporters Without Borders, the Foreign Press Association, the Committee to Protect Journalists, and major broadcasters, including the BBC, say that Israel has not produced sufficient evidence to prove that claim. There are all social media posts by...
His posts are up. What are you talking about? Hold on.
Not produced sufficient evidence to prove that claim. There are all social media posts by al-Sharif, some verified, some unverified, which indicate clear sympathies with Hamas.
Okay, some are unverified. Holy crap. If you have even just one, the ones that have been verified are the ones that he's celebrating October 7th. The ones that are verified are the ones that he's celebrating Yahya Sinwar, having a picture with him and being celebrating him. So I don't care that some of them have not been verified. The ones that have been verified are good enough. Those ones have already been verified. Like, what the hell? And they're like, oh, there is no evidence with Hamas. Meanwhile, there's a picture of him celebrating Yahya Sinwar. What? There's no evidence? What else do you need? Oh, BBC is like, like, imagine if like somebody has like a picture of Hitler in his room, and like there's BBC. There is no evidence that this guy has any sympathy towards Nazi ideology. Like, okay. Okay, sure. If you say so. If you say so, BBC. If you say so.
There's also
Oh,
photographs.
there it is. Guys, that I was speaking of. That's it. Like, hey, that one has been verified. Okay, and like, oh, there's some of them haven't been verified. Well, that one has. So okay, it's right there.
of al-Sharif with the slain.
Look, he's so happy. Happy boy. Look at this happy boy. Oh my god, he's so happy, so cheery. Look at him. Oh, he's being hugged by his... Like, why? I mean, I've never seen Yahya Sinwar actually embracing somebody like this. So, like, guys, do you guys think that Yahya Sinwar will come and just hug somebody like that because, I don't know, there was just a random journalist that is not doing anything for Hamas? And I'm sure he will just go around and just randomly hug all journalists, that unbiased journalists that are just in Gaza. They all have hugs with Yahya Sinwar. Yeah, this is what you do. You know, you're objective journalist in Gaza. You're being completely fair, and you sometimes criticize Hamas as well for some of their shortcomings. But Yahya Sinwar will come and just randomly hug you and celebrate you. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. I guess this is I don't know. I think this is a joke. Are you guys serious? Like, this is the guy that people are like, oh my god, this poor innocent journalist that Israel just killed. You have no mercy? Why are you guys so evil? He's with the enemy. What the hell? What are you talking about? There is no evidence that this guy was with Hamas. Meanwhile, the evidence. What the fuck? And then, if this was not enough, guys, by the way, he has verified posts on his social media celebrating October 7th, celebrating the greatest act of genocide that we have experienced on Jews since World War II. He was celebrating that. Oh, like, oh, the poor journalist, the poor objective journalist. Obviously, Israel is only taking these out because they're afraid of the truth getting out of Gaza. Okay. All right. Look at this. Oh, somebody's saying you're a sick man. That's not how you spell your. That is not. Why is everybody who's calling me an idiot or a sick man or I don't know, genocide supporting, child killing, sympathize, whatever? Why is it that they always say you're a sick man? Do I have a sick man? I don't have a sick man with me. Do you have a sick man with you? You're a sick... No, I don't know.
Hamas leader Sinwar. But the BBC's understanding is that he worked for the Hamas media office before the current conflict began and had been sharply critical of Hamas more recently. It should also be...
Oh, yeah. The guy, sharply critical of Hamas more recently. Over what exactly? Over what? Over the fact that they did October 7th? Because he celebrated that. Critical. Guys, it's amazing how they didn't say critical of what. Were they critical because Hamas was a terrorist organization? Were they critical because they were, they killed Jews? Were they critical because of what? Was it more internal politics or actual? Did you consider them to be a terroristic organization? Personal infighting doesn't count.
noted that Hamas is the biggest employer in Gaza. To this day, it pays the salaries of tens of thousands of people, including civil servants, as the de facto government. Now, there is evidence that al-Sharif was a former Hamas employee.
No, that excuse doesn't people are like, oh well, he has to work for Hamas because they're the de facto government. Last time I checked, if you're a journalist, you don't actually have to work for the government. You could just do the reporting, right? One. So the fact that he's working for Hamas, that doesn't mean like, well, he has no choice. His hands was tied. His hands were tied. He had to work for Hamas. Bullshit. You could just report the goddamn news, right? Second of all, he celebrated October 7th. He celebrated October 7th. So like, oh, he was just such a good person, but he was forced to work with Hamas because there's no other option. Bullshit. There are posts of him celebrating October 7th. Oh. Yeah. Like Shana is saying, Shana, thank you so much for your super chat saying, if you're going to insult Armin, please do it with proper English. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that would be good. I could learn from you actually. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. I mean, aren't journalists supposed to be independent? I don't know. Yeah, like like of course, Piers Morgan works for, I don't know, the UK. There's no the UK government. Piers Morgan, you're working for the UK government, right? Because there's no other government in the UK. They are the de facto government. So that means that you must be working for the UK government. What a stupid argument. I don't know.
And at some point, a supporter. But does the evidence meet the very high bar for somehow justifying a targeted attack on journalists in a conflict which independent journalists have simply not been allowed to see?
Independent journalists have not been allowed to see. First of all, this is so stupid. The only number these people have managed to find to suggest that Israel is committing war crimes, right, is the fact that higher number of journalists have been killed in this war than other wars, right? They wouldn't go report any other numbers, because every other number that you put your hands on, Israel ends up looking really good. Every single statistics that you analyze, if you actually analyze it, you'll realize that, holy crap, Israel is actually the most moral, the most ethical, the most humane army in the whole world. Every number. But they have looked at, is this the Texas sharpshooter fallacy? I think this is, guys, am I right? This is basically the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. They have gone look at all the numbers and like, okay, this number makes Israel look good. This number makes Israel look good. They're like, what is it? What is it that is the highest number that we could be like, oh, look at the crime, and Israel is criminal, right? Oh, you guys don't know about that logical fallacy, Texas sharpshooter? Okay, so go look it up. I'm not going to explain it. They basically, this is how it works, right? They have, let's say, for example, there's so many numbers out there, and they're just trying to find the number that makes Israel look bad, and then they just highlight that one. And they found it. It's the number of journalists killed. And the reason why that number is high is not because Israel is looking for journalists and killing them. The reason why that number is high is because everybody in Gaza can call themselves a journalist if they're just pointing at events and, I mean, there's so many people who are journalists who are Hamas. I mean, what am I supposed to do? There has never been, maybe the reason why the number of journalists killed in Gaza is the highest for a very long time in war is because never have we had your enemy, people that are doing the propaganda for your enemy and working with your enemy, call themselves journalists in this high of a number. That's the reason. This is the reason. So I'm sure if in other wars that everybody was doing the propaganda for your enemy just called themselves a journalist, then in those wars, then the number of journalists killed by you would be also high as well. That's the reason why they're high. So yeah, I mean, journalists, so-called journalists.
Well, joining me to discuss all this is the director.
Oh, somebody's saying in the chat is telling me you are Zio lover. You are a Zio lover. Well, actually, halal way of life. Oh, I can see you're Muslim. Halal way of life. I'm actually worse. I'm your worst nightmare. I'm not just a Zio lover. I am a Zionist myself. I'm going to come hunt you in your dreams. I am actually a Zionist myself. Okay. Guys, this Halloween, I'm going to come out as a Zionist.
Of Al Jazeera 360, Jamal El Shayal, and Middle East correspondent Yotam Confina. Welcome to both of you. Jamal, first of all, your reaction to this emphatic statement by the IDF that Anas al-Sharif was a Hamas terrorist.
I think it's a disgrace, actually, that people are giving any sort of credence to what the Israeli military is saying. This is a military that has, for the past 2 years, conducted a genocide, the likes of which we have not seen in our lifetime before, has dropped.
Oh, you're not going to address the question. You're going to go basically try to go with these other false claims that this show is about a genocide. Oh, God. Hey, talk about this journalist. Was he Hamas? Was he not Hamas? Was his targeting justified or not justified? Well, let me just give you a list of other accusations that obviously nobody's going to have time to go correct you, because this is a trick that they use, right? So imagine if you are trying to, the show is about verifying whether A is true or not, okay? And if this is such a bad faith thing to do, because the topic of the show is about A, the other side who's going to argue against you is not going to be able to respond to you if you add the accusations B, C, D, E, and F, but you're going to try to tempt them by making those false accusations without providing any evidence, knowing that the hands of the other side is tied because the topic of the show is on A. That's a very sneaky, disgusting way. Where's, like, are they going to actually be able to? Yeah, it's basically just throwing the accusation out there without any evidence, knowing that the other person, if they want to respond to you, they have to actually spend so much time responding to this genocide accusation that you didn't actually provide any evidence for.
Is saying this is a military that has, for the past 2 years, conducted a genocide, the likes of which
conducted a genocide, the worst genocide, the worst act of genocide ever. I agree that if this was genocide, it's the worst act of genocide in the history of the world, because nobody has done as poorly as Israel to be successful in committing genocide. Okay. I mean, if you're trying to genocide a group of people and their population is increasing, then you suck at doing genocide. Okay. But look at
this. A tree that has, for the past 2 years, conducted a genocide, the likes of which we have not seen in our lifetime before, has dropped the amount.
Active genocide that we haven't seen in our lifetime? I'm pretty sure there are a whole bunch of stuff that, I mean, how old is he? I think he was alive during Rwanda. Wasn't Rwanda a genocide? Let me see. Was the Rwandan massacre, was that an act of genocide, and how many people died? I could ask ChatGPT to see. Yes, the 1994 Rwandan massacre is internationally recognized as a genocide over roughly 100 days, and estimated deaths are around 800,000 to 1 million people were killed. He said this is the greatest act of genocide in our lifetime. I mean, how old is this guy? Was he, like, he looks older than being. 1994 is not that long time. That's not long ago. 800,000 to 1 million people over 100 days. What the hell? Okay. This is worse than that. And again, remember, guys, what's happening in Gaza, the people who have died, then I have to mention this every time. The ratio of civilian to casualty, the ratio of civilian to combatant casualty rates are lower than any modern warfare ever recorded. Not only this is not the worst act of genocide in our lifetime, this is actually the greatest effort for reducing civilian casualties, not just in our lifetime, but ever recorded. It's basically not just that what he's saying is just not just a lie. It couldn't be farther from the truth. All right, let's continue.
Of munitions that is.
Do you guys like how I explain to you guys? I make it easy. I dismantle these arguments right in front of your eyes. So, and I will teach you how to respond to other people. Okay? Do you guys appreciate this? Do you guys appreciate this? Like, look at this. This lady with the hijab saying, liar. Why did I lie? What did I lie? These numbers, which part of it was a lie? Which part of it was a lie? Was the fact that the Rwandan genocide was a genocide more than this? What this guy said? Like, was that a lie? Because, I could get you the sources. Was the fact that the ratio of civilian to combatant ratio in Gaza is 1-to-1, which is much lower than the average of 3-to-1 and 5-to-1, and much lower than the average of 9-to-1 for urban warfare. Was that a lie? Because you could look this up. You could look all of this up. But no, you could just call me liar. That's all you could do. You have nothing else. But let's continue.
Equivalent to 7 Hiroshimas on a besieged enclave that's.
Oh, this is actually a point in favor of Israel. Look at this. They think like, guys, because the number of people who died, the number of civilians who died, makes Israel look good, not bad. They go and talk about how much explosive power was used. But do you guys know why this is actually in favor of Israel? Look at this.
We have not seen in our lifetime before, has dropped the amount of munitions that is equivalent to 7 Hiroshimas.
7 Hiroshimas. Guys, 1 Hiroshima. How many people died from the Hiroshima? Okay, let me ask. How many people died in the Hiroshima atomic bombing? Just give me a short answer. So, we got 7. Let me ask ChatGPT. Okay. 140, let's just say 100,000. Okay. So then 700,000 people should have died but they didn't. So that means that they used that much explosive power and people did not die to that extent. It's almost as if most of those explosive power was trying to avoid killing people. Almost as if they weren't trying to kill people. I ask you this. If people are there and they use this much explosive power, and they're trying to kill as many Gazans, are Israelis just this bad at aiming? Are Israelis just like, oopsie, we dropped another bomb somewhere that people were not? We were trying to kill people, but we suck at bomb, but we suck at killing, apparently. How did Israel manage to drop as much as 7 Hiroshima atomic bombs on Gaza, and in a place where it has the second highest population density in the world, and miss people by this much? I mean, it cannot be hard. They're all next to each other. Why are they just avoiding the people then? It's almost as if they're not even trying to kill people. It's a mystery, guys. It's a mystery. It's basically one of these two options. Either they're just bad at aiming, or they're trying to. No. It cannot be because they're not trying to kill civilians. It cannot be. Israelis are evil. Obviously, they're trying to kill as many people. Israelis just suck at aiming. They just suck at aiming. It must be that. I mean, do they see how their own points goes against their arguments?
On a besieged enclave that has been besieged for 20 years now, has killed more than 20,000 children. This is a military.
20,000 children. Again, they keep you telling, see, every time he gives a point and it takes a while to respond to them. First of all, if they killed 20,000 people, because these are Hamas numbers, but let's accept it, 20,000 children, okay? Right. Half of the population of Gaza are children. Half of the population of Gaza. So even if you get the lowest civilian to combatant ratio of people killed, given that the civilians, half of them are children, of course you're going to have a high number of children dying. You don't see the fact, but the fact that the ratio is so low, it means that every single child that died, Israel was doing its best to try to get less children from dying, which is the very exact opposite of Hamas trying to get more children dying. I mean, given that we have absolute proof that Israel tries to get less children dying, and Hamas has constantly showed and signaled and said that civilians dying is an investment, and it strengthens the resistance, and that the blood of our martyrs make the resistance stronger, and it doesn't matter anyway, because during the time of these Gazans dying, we are having more children, so they all will be replaced. That's their own statement. And then who really is murdering the children? The Israelis who are trying to avoid civilian casualties, or Hamas that is trying to make more civilians die? Obviously, the murderer of every single one of these children is Hamas. Every single one of them. So yeah, 20,000 is a high number, and that's why we condemn Hamas for it. Let me see. We got a super chat by Amit. Thank you, Amit. By the way, thank you guys for super chat. I will read super chats during the show. Whatever it is, I will read them. So thank you. And also, people who are members, that's a really good way to support the show. If you also want to embarrass me, you could do a super chat and tell me your facts, and I will read them for you. I mean, I do read some of your bullshit, anti-Semites, your bullshit as well. Amit is saying journalists go to dangerous places against Israel's warning too. Also explain why some of those journalists died. Yes, exactly. And again, the reason why Israel has to avoid getting journalists into risky areas, and if journalists do want to get in, they need to have IDF protection, because the situation there is very dangerous. And obviously, if journalists go there, many of foreign journalists go there, many of them will die, and the entire world is going to use that as proof that Israel is evil. So basically, Israel is damned if you do, damned if you don't. The main number they have against Israel to show that Israel is evil is the number of journalists dying. So Israel is like, okay, if journalists want to go in, they need to have my clearance, and I need to provide them protection, and they need to go into areas that I'm saying, like, oh, no. You're hiding the truth. You're just trying to hide the truth. Okay, if I let them in, I mean, guys, these leftists, they act like they are anti-racist, but they're also racist. If a white person, if one of their own dies, they're going to make that person into their own martyr, right? And they're going to demonize Israel so much more. So obviously, Israel needs to do as much as possible to make sure that these people don't go in there and die, because then they're going to use that as a way to demonize Israel even more. So it makes absolute sense. But let's continue. I mean, by the way, Israel, every single war, after the war is over, Israel allowed journalists to go in and do their investigation. But obviously, in the middle of the freaking war, Israel is not going to go allow people to go get killed there, and then Israel gets the blame for it. Obviously not.
That has a history of killing journalists. This is not the first journalist.
Ahmad in the chat is saying, God, you're an idiot. Oh, wow. What a solid argument, Ahmad. You destroyed me. Wow, with facts and logic. You exposed me to everyone here. Wow, guys, he mentioned that I'm an idiot. You, sir, this is what we call critical analysis. Amazing job. Very nicely done, Ahmad. You are so wise. This is all they have, by the way, guys. This is all they have. They just have, you're stupid, you idiot. Like, grifter. Yeah, that's all they have. You have nothing. You have nothing against me. There you go.
Journalist that was killed. This is the latest in a string of journalists, actually, Piers. If we go through one by one, I'm not sure if we have enough time to go through simply the 270 plus journalists.
Go. You don't have a single evidence. One single evidence that Israel targeted the journalists on purpose. And here's the thing. I would be the first to admit That a proper journalist, not a Hamas propagandist, okay? But if you one day show that Israel on purpose targeted a journalist on purpose for the sake of silencing somebody, I will be the first person that will come here and condemn, wait for it, that soldier, that specific soldier, not Israel. See the difference? See the difference? Because if one day, I'm sure at some point you might, right? Because the army is full of people. There are people there who might be, I don't know, crazy. One day you might find one evidence. So far you have zero. One day you might find one soldier that targeted a journalist on purpose, unjustifiably. But you know what's the difference? That is not the policy of the IDF. That is the policy of Hamas. In that case, when Hamas does it, I could blame all of Hamas because that's the policy of Hamas. But when an IDF soldier does it, if you find evidence, I will only blame that IDF soldier, not the entirety of IDF, not the entirety of Israel, because that's not the policy of Israel. See the difference? No, you don't, because you're an idiot. There you go.
That have been killed in the past 2 years alone. But I want to highlight just a few of those that have been killed over the past 100 years, either by Israel, the Israeli military, or by Zionist terrorist organizations. Zionist terrorist organizations here, I'm borrowing the phrase used by the British government and the BBC back in
Zionist terrorist organizations. He's probably going to talk about pre-Israel times because they have nothing against Israel. And do we have Zionist terrorist organization back then? Yes, we did. You did? We did. I mean, you know who admits that? Israel admits that. Israel admits that. And when you say Zionist terrorist organization, it's because you're trying to blame all of Zionism. Zionism makes sense. Zionism is not terroristic. Zionism is just Israeli people's right to self-determination. That's all it is, right? Zionism is good. But just like nationalism, which is a good thing, could be turned by some people. We have terrorists who have nationalistic, call themselves nationalists. So obviously you're going to find examples of certain Zionists at some point in history who did questionable or criminal things. Obviously you're going to be able to find it. But again, see, the fact that these people are anti-Semites will be proven by that. You know why? Because if you find examples of people who were Zionists who did criminal things before even Israel was a country, but we're talking about Israel today, how are you connecting them? It's almost as if Israel should be blamed for whatever Jewish person does anywhere, any crime done by a Jew somewhere in history. Israel now has to be answerable to that. See, you see how anti-Semitic this is? Because I'm sure you're going to give me some examples of some terrorist groups that existed before Israel was even a nation state. Huh? That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do.
In the early 20th century, when there was some sort of credibility amongst establishment media and the British political.
The credibility, even in Israel, they call some of those groups terrorists. The Israelis consider, okay, he's acting like this is before.
System. Let's go as far back as 1920.
By the way, guys, there's a lot of anti-Israel haters. There's a lot of anti-Semites in the... Guys, smile and wave at the anti-Semites in the chat. Smile and wave. Hi. Look at those crazy people in the chat. Oh my God. Look at how angry they are. Look how angry they are. This is fantastic. All right, let's continue.
When at the time there was an anti-Zionist Jewish journalist who was Dutch by the name of Jacob Israël de Haan, who was killed by the Haganah, which was one of the key groups that actually formed the Israeli military afterwards, because he wrote.
Oh, it formed the Israeli military afterwards. This is kind of like saying we should be anti-American police today because the police, the police in the United States was made out of what initially were slave catchers, which is the case, right? So imagine being anti-cop, anti-police in the United States because the organizations and the units that were slave catchers eventually turned into what we today consider to be the police in the United States. So does it make sense for you to now be anti-police? No. No, it doesn't. But again, too complicated for these people to understand this.
Anti-Zionist.
And again, he's making the connection a lot more. Like he's obviously exaggerating. Like the connection is not as clear as he's saying it. But let's just accept it and say, like, so what? So what? I judge the IDF based on what they are today, not based on who some back then when Israel was not even a country, what they did, and associate all their crimes back then by some people to the entirety of the IDF today. That's obviously retarded. But again, I don't expect much more from anti-Semites.
Formed the Israeli military afterwards because he wrote anti-Zionist articles in 1924. Let's go into this century when we're looking at Raffaele.
Wait, who is he talking about? He's talking about. Wait, what was that guy's name? The journalist?
An anti-Zionist Jewish journalist who was Dutch by the name of Jacob Israël. When at the time there was an anti-Zionist Jewish journalist who was Dutch by the name of Jacob Israël de Haan, who was killed by the Haganah, which was one of the key groups that actually formed the Israeli military afterwards, because he wrote anti-Zionist.
Yeah, so right, this guy, this assassination, even today, Israeli and Jewish sources describe this as the first terrorist assassination. But Zionists describe it this way. It was a political assassination. It was a terroristic assassination. So they don't consider this to be a precedent for modern Israel. So what's your problem? Oh, this is kind of like saying, like, hey guys, did you know George Washington had slaves? Did you know the founding fathers have slaves? Let's be all anti-American then. What the hell? I mean, this is even much smaller than that, because the people who did this were not even the founding fathers. I don't know. This is so stupid. This is too lazy. You don't have much against Israel, so you have to go to days that Israel. This is 1924. This is before. This is more than 20 years before Israel was a country. What am I supposed to do with this information?
Articles in 1924. Let's go into this century when we're looking at Raffaele Ciriello, who was an.
Yeah, somebody in the chat is saying, stop the genocide. Yes, IDF, please stop the genocide. Please stop Hamas. Guys, stop the genocide. Destroy Hamas so that we could stop the genocide. Support the IDF so that we could stop the genocide against Jewish people.
Italian photographer for Corriere della Sera, who was killed in 24. Let's go into this century when we're looking at Raffaele Ciriello, who was an Italian photographer for Corriere della Sera, who was killed, murdered in Ramallah in 2002. Or let's look at Shireen Abu Akleh.
Wait. So who? Raffaele Ciriello in Ramallah 2002. What happened? He was killed by fire from the direction of an Israeli tank while moving near. Oh my God! While he was moving near armed Palestinian militias in heavy fighting. Wow, guys, do you understand what just the example that he just gave us? So there was this Italian journalist in 2002 that was killed in Ramallah, and he's giving that as an example that Israel targets journalists. And if you go look at what happened, he was killed by fire from the direction of an Israeli tank while moving near armed Palestinian militants in heavy fighting. Wow, how could he have died in any other way other than Israel purposefully targeting him? A journalist was standing right next to the militants that Israelis were fighting, and then he just died. Obviously, there's no other explanation for this other than Israel specifically just targeting the journalist. Wow, guys, there's a miss. There could be no. Is there any other option? What did you think is going to happen? What the hell? Guys, do I need to spell this out for you? This is absolutely idiotic. Of course you're going to die. Of course, if you are standing right next to the people that Israel is shooting at. Holy crap. This is their example? Guys, they must have nothing else. Why is this? Why is this on his list? Why is this on his list? This is an embarrassment. This makes Israel look even better than I thought. I thought maybe some of these examples. Okay, what the fuck? Let me actually look into this even more. Location and proximity. So eyewitness accounts, including a colleague with him, say that Trish, again, I can't pronounce this journalist's name. It's Italian. Ciriello, okay, was trailing Palestinian gunmen when an Israeli tank rounded a corner and fired. Oh, it must mean that they're just targeting journalists. Yeah, being close to active fighters increases your chance of dying in an active combat zone, you freaking moron. Like, we're in the middle of a war. I'm with the terrorists. Israelis are attacking this. And then you get shot. Like, how could this have happened? Pikachu face. I'm so surprised. How could this have happened? Okay. Oh, we got a super chat. Let me see the super chat. I like this. Super chat we got from Mano. Okay, man of cultures. Oh, okay. Man of cultures is saying that guy went to Mehdi Hassan School of Debate. Okay. Yeah, that's funny. I like it. I like it. That's a good one. Yes.
An American Christian.
Somebody is saying, fuck IDF. Oh my God, guys, you destroyed the IDF. The IDF is no more. Wow. The IDF is no more. I'm sure you have damaged the IDF beyond repair. The IDF will never recover from this. Never recover from this. Oh, now look, I'm making him really angry. He's saying, Zionist bitch. No, stop insulting me. That's my weakness. Why are you insulting me? Did you not know that's my weakness? Guys, in the chat, hey, anti-Israelis, can you please not insult me? It really hurts my feelings. Please, guys, I cannot take it anymore. Do not insult me, okay? I want to look into the chat and I want to see no more insults toward me because it really, really hurts my feelings. Please don't do it. Please, okay? Thank you. All right. I really can't take it, guys. It's really, the emotional damage. The emotional damage. Okay.
Who was sniped by the Israeli military the day they wanted to go in and commit more crimes in Jenin, in the West Bank. And not only did they...
Wait, what is he talking about now?
Or let's look at Shireen Abu Akleh, an American Christian who was sniped by...
Why do you mention that she's a Christian? Are you trying to... Guys, what is this with like people constantly mentioning who's a Christian? Are the anti-Israelis suggesting that not all lives matter? Because like I see Tucker Carlson and Anna Kasparian were like, oh my God, did you guys know they're also killing the Christians? Wait, so Christian lives matter more than other people's lives? Because the IDF doesn't operate like that. Guys, it's so interesting that they constantly accuse us of being racist and pro-genocide and pro-killing people. Meanwhile, while we defend the IDF because the IDF actually values the people's lives in Gaza and does more than anyone else to try to protect the lives of people in Gaza. Nobody has done more for the people of Gaza than the IDF to try to protect their lives. All the people who say free Palestine, they are the greatest curse upon the people in Gaza. And then, meanwhile, we care about all people's lives. We want to try to reduce death as much as possible among everybody, except the people who take other people's lives, and that's not because we want them to die. It's just because we want them to stop killing other people, right? And then meanwhile, did you know that Christians died? I mean, we all know that these people don't matter unless they're Christian. So Tucker, like Christians are dying. Christians are dying in Gaza. Hey guys, we need to be anti-Israel because Christians are dying. Okay, so you're saying that non-Christian lives don't matter then? That's what you're saying. Okay, let me see. So we got a super chat by Dan saying there are thousands of journalists within Israel. What percentage have been killed? They falsely create a conspiracy theory with a few examples. Yeah, I mean, the main point is that they have zero evidence that their journalists are being targeted. Yeah, I mean, in Israel, the journalists are free to report on, criticize. I mean, most of the. Let me actually do one better. Thank you for the super chat, but let me add to that. Not only that, if Israel was worried about journalists and was trying to silence the journalists, then why is it that we get the best criticisms from the highest condemnations against Israel by journalists in Israel? I mean, guys, have you read the Haaretz? Have you read the Haaretz? I mean, Israel is already dealing with free press and journalists within Israel constantly criticizing it. But no, Israel is worried about I need to silence the people who might have negative opinions against me. Let's kill them. Sure, buddy. Sure, if you say so. But let's continue with this. Oh, who are you talking? This reporter, this Christian, got this Christian reporter. It's a Christian reporter. We guys, we care now. We care. Okay. Apparently, we didn't care if it wasn't Christian, but now all of a sudden we care. Okay. Yeah, we were monsters until now. We didn't care about people's lives, but Christians. Okay, let's pay attention now.
The Israeli military, the day they wanted to go in and commit more crimes in Jenin, in the West Bank, and not only did they not rest at murdering her on camera, they decided to attack her funeral in front of the world because of the impunity that Israel.
Wait, is she talking about Shireen? Shireen, right?
American Christian who was, and two, or let's look at Shireen Abu Akleh, an American Christian who was sniped by the Israeli military the day they wanted to go in and commit more crimes in Jenin, in the West Bank. And not only did they not rest at murdering her on camera, they decided to attack her funeral in front of the world because of the.
Well, do you have any evidence that they did it on purpose? Because this was investigated. Let me actually see. The U.S. security coordinator, again, not Israel, reported that gunfire from IDF position was likely responsible. Okay, so they admitted that, and found no reason to believe it was intentional. The bullet exam was inconclusive due to damage. Again, guys, I'm not saying it wasn't intentional. I'm just saying you have no evidence that it was intentional. Maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But there is no evidence that you could point to that says, like, how do you know? Where are you getting this claim? I mean, if you're making this accusation, the intent is central. That's what matters to show. You're like, oh, somebody died, so there's a crime. Where's the intent? So let me see if there's any evidence. How do you know that this wasn't accidental? Like, she was in an active, general said. So, yeah, in chaotic firefights, yeah, we don't know. There is no, based on what I'm reading, there is no evidence. But again, guys, with Israel is guilty until proven innocent. Actually, no. Is guilty forever. There is no proven innocent. It works. It doesn't. So we have innocent until proven guilty. I thought for a second to say for Israel is the other way around, is guilty until proven innocent. But then I realized there is no proving Israel innocent. It's guilty no matter what.
Impunity that Israel has. Let's look at the beginning of this genocide in 2023, when they killed Reuters journalists on the border with Lebanon, and they killed Isam there and blew off the legs of Christina Abiasi. There is a string of
the accusation is they were trying. Do you have a single evidence for any one of these that they were on purpose targeting the journalists? You have zero evidence. Again, I don't know what to say.
Of perpetual attempts by the Israeli military to murder anybody who wants.
Lies, lies, lies with no. Again, it's easy to just make claims. It's easy to just make claims without backing it with evidence.
To show the world the truth of what Zionism is and what Israel does. So the fact that we are here today in 2025 discussing or giving any sort of credence to serial killers, serial liars, as if what they say bears any.
By the way, this guy himself has posts celebrating and defending Hamas. And he's an Al Jazeera journalist. I kid you not. He's sitting there accusing us of like, oh, how could we take these serial killers seriously? Meanwhile, he himself has posts as an Al Jazeera journalist defending Hamas on, I kid you not, on October 7th. And now he's sitting here lecturing us about morality.
Any weight whatsoever is actually reflective, as a shame, more onto us as media personalities and as channels and as newspapers, because you wouldn't be sitting down with a serial killer.
I mean, guys, why are the world asking, like, oh, why is Israel killing journalists? Shouldn't everybody be asking, why are so many of Al Jazeera's reporters terrorists? Or why are there so many of them terrorist sympathizers? Shouldn't that be the question? Why is there not an outrage? Like, what the hell, guys? Like, how are you a serious media outlet with so many of your members just being either terrorists, actively participating in supporting a terrorist organization, or showing sympathy for them? Isn't that the question?
Or a serial rapist, and giving them any sort of credence or credibility to what they're saying, you would see that long litany and long list of their crimes and understand that whatever they say means nothing.
Okay, but just to be specific about Anas al-Sharif, what is indisputable is that he clearly had a relationship with Hamas stretching back a number of.
He didn't have a relationship with Hamas. He was working for Hamas. He was doing their propaganda. He was celebrating them.
Years. I presume you've done your own investigating into this. It wasn't the first time he'd been accused of this. He was accused.
By the way, guys, there's a point here where they ask him, I'm not going to get to that point, but they ask him to condemn Hamas, and he doesn't condemn. This is a trick that I want every single person to understand. Maybe I should find that part. Maybe I'll do it another time. Okay, let me actually see, because there's a point, and Piers Morgan gets fooled by it. Okay, and he doesn't condemn. He tries to get away, and then Piers Morgan corners him. Like, listen, answer this. Do you condemn Hamas or not? Okay, and this is what Hamas sympathizers do. They hold on. They try to run away. They act like this is not a question that they're supposed to answer. And then eventually, if you corner them, they say, you know what? I condemn anybody killing any civilians. And then at that point, you have to ask them, well, okay, does that mean that you condemn Hamas? They won't say that sentence. They say, I answered you. I said I will condemn anybody killing innocent civilians. That's what they say. But Piers Morgan was not smart enough to realize that he's not condemning Hamas, because they wouldn't utter those words. They won't say, I condemn Hamas. If you really, really corner them, they will just say that I will condemn anybody killing innocent civilians. And Piers Morgan thought that means that he condemned Hamas. He doesn't understand that he has to actually push for getting that sentence out of their mouth. In fact, he congratulated him by saying, okay, I got a clear answer. Thank you. So Piers Morgan is not experienced enough regarding how sleazy these people are. Somebody needs to explain, if you actually don't get the sentence, I condemn Hamas, out of their mouth, they haven't condemned Hamas, even if they say, I condemn anybody who kills innocent civilians, because they don't consider those civilians to be innocent. Let me see if I could find that part, because I have to ask Gemini. At what point in this video does Morgan ask his guest to condemn Hamas? Maybe I could find the second. I don't know. Would that be worth watching? So let's go a little bit
Use
through.
of this while he was still
This is a very key information that you guys need to have. Okay.
alive last year. So, what is your understanding of what his relationship was to?
Oh, I think I found it. 2202. So right now we're at 720. Wow, Gemini, thank you. If you find, let's see if Gemini got this right. Because if Gemini got this right, I am impressed. Let's see if Gemini got this right.
Well, no, my question would be a question I asked a lot of guests in the first few months.
Guys, Gemini got this right within seconds. Like, look, this is a 1 hour video. And I asked Gemini at what point during this video, Morgan asks his guest if he condemns Hamas. And it told me at the 22-minute and 2-second part, and it got it right. Like, I didn't actually have to go look through the entire video. Good job, Gemini. I'm very impressed with you.
After what happened October the 7th on the pro-Palestinian side, which is a very simple one, which is, do you personally, Jamal, condemn what Hamas did on that day?
Piers, let me respond to what Jotam said first, if you don't mind, because what he's done was he's quoted what has been written. What was written is a very...
So first, he doesn't answer Piers Morgan. He's going to respond to the other guests because he's hoping that they forget to ask this question again from him.
Journalistic approach to describe factually in real time what was being posted as a video. So when you have a video of a fighter, he is a fighter with an elderly person in bed.
All right, so he's trying to avoid Piers' question. Piers asked him if he's going to condemn Hamas, and he tries to avoid that question. He answers something else, and I think Piers asks him again at the, we'll see.
And attacking people.
Piers, I actually don't know.
Let me ask you a question.
Don't know.
Did you? But surely you'd remember if you posted any videos of people actually being harmed, because Hamas.
So yeah, here they basically are attacking him because on October 7th, he was defending Hamas, and he was trying to act like Hamas was doing everything correctly and peacefully and not harming anybody, even though during October 7th, Hamas itself was posting videos of itself basically harming people. So they're pushing him against that. But the guest is actually trying to not answer the Hamas condemning question. I think they basically come back to asking that question again at the 26-minute mark. And again, that's important because I just want you to see the people who are coming here and arguing, the Al Jazeera journalist that is arguing that, oh, this was just a poor journalist. He himself is a terrorist sympathizer. So
now, as a journalist, Hamas did not kill my people as journalists, my colleagues.
Oh, okay. Let's go back. He's coming up with the excuse here for why he doesn't condemn Hamas. If it plays.
Allowed you to talk at length in your most condemnatory way about Israel and the IDF. And you're perfectly entitled.
Let me go a little bit backwards because this is important.
To talk about the murder.
You've been very, very condemnatory. Can I talk? Jamal.
Yes.
Jamal, hang on, please. Jamal, you've been very, very condemnatory, and I've allowed you to talk at length in your most condemnatory way about Israel and the IDF. And you're perfectly entitled to that opinion. But I'm also perfectly entitled in the question of balance. You talk about truth to power and being fair as a journalist. I don't think it's unfair to simply ask you, if you as an Al Jazeera representative, whether you condemn the terrorist attack on October the 6th.
Guys, guess in the chat. Guess in the chat. Is he going to condemn Hamas or not?
Because I thought that it was one of the most despicable things.
Yeah, so we got a super chat. Thank you so much. Saying being a journalist grants terrorists a free pass. Yeah, apparently so. Apparently. Thank you so much for that.
Great. I've ever witnessed as a journalist.
Now, that's your opinion.
Yeah, guys. If you're a terrorist in Gaza, here's how you get immunity. Just act like your press, just be a journalist. And now, if Israel kills you as a terrorist, now the world condemns Israel even harder.
You condemn the terrorist attack on October the 7th, because I thought that it was one of the most despicable things that
Great.
I've ever
So
witnessed as a journalist.
now
in
that's your
my
opinion,
entire
and you're
life.
more than
See, he's saying that's your opinion, and so that's not my opinion. Look at that. You see that? When Piers is saying on October 7th what happened was disgusting and vile, this Al Jazeera representative is saying, well, that's your opinion and you're entitled to it. Do you know what that means? That means that it's not his opinion. It's not his opinion that what Hamas did on October 7th was disgusting and vile. Did you guys hear that? This is an Al Jazeera representative.
But I'm also perfectly entitled in the question of balance. You talk about truth to power and being fair as a journalist. I don't think it's unfair to simply ask you, if you as an Al Jazeera representative, whether you condemn the terrorist attack on October the 7th, because I thought that it was one of the most despicable things that
Great.
I've ever witnessed as a journalist.
Now
in
that's your
my
opinion,
entire
and you're more
life.
than
But what is your opinion?
And you are more than welcome. I'm going to tell you now, if you don't mind, that is your opinion. You're more than welcome to it, right? If Hamas is to kill or target or arrest I'm speaking now as a journalist and as my capacity within Al Jazeera, if they were to attack or kill or harm any journalist, I will condemn them instantly within the capacity that I'm talking to you now. If you are asking me, let me borrow.
So within the capacity that I'm talking to you now, guys, do you know what he's saying? He's saying because he doesn't want to lose the Hamas supporters' support. So he's trying to not get accused of being a Hamas sympathizer, but at the same time not lose the support of people who support Hamas. So he knows that he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, but he wants to have his cake and eat it too, right? He wants to satisfy Piers Morgan while also signaling to their base, their fans, that hint, hint, wink, wink, I'm not actually condemning Hamas. When he says in my capacity right now, why would he say that? Like normal people say, like, yeah, I condemn Hamas. He says, well, as right now, if Hamas has killed any journalist, like guys, we have Hamas killing children in their sleep. But if Hamas kills any journalist, then in my capacity right now, I will that means that, guys, I am in a position that from this position I need to say certain things. So please do not unsubscribe. Please do not think that I'm not with you. This is what I'm saying from this capacity, from this position. Do you understand? That's the hint that he's sending to the people who support Hamas. Do you guys see that? And I think Piers Morgan doesn't understand what's happening
instantly
here.
Within the capacity that I'm talking to you now. If you are asking me, let me borrow the words
civilians?
of the great Muhammad Ali boxer. Let me borrow the words of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, when he was trying to be conscripted to fight in Vietnam, told you what? He said, no Viet Cong called me, and no Viet Cong tried to enslave his people. I'm telling you now as a journalist, Hamas did not kill my people as journalists, my colleague.
Did you see what he's saying? So he is not going to condemn Hamas because Hamas has not killed his people. So Hamas has committed an act of genocide upon the people of Israel, not just Jews, but also Muslims and Arabs and other people, right? And he does not condemn them because it wasn't against his people. Guys, this is an Al Jazeera representative. He's refusing to condemn Hamas because Hamas did not attack his people. Unbelievable. Okay.
They did not detain. So when you're telling me you've been very condemnatory, I'm being very condemnatory of an Israeli military that has killed more than a dozen of my own colleagues with
my own colleagues. Oh, because they're you mean Hamas? You mean Hamas operatives? Okay, so because they're my people, I care about when they attack my people, not when they attack other innocent people.
Al Jazeera alone, that has destroyed our offices. And this is what we're talking about.
Yes. Yes, we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Jackie's saying that quote by Muhammad Ali itself is stupid. Not condemning North Vietnam due to past slavery in the because they didn't enslave my people. Yeah, so if other people, Muhammad Ali was stupid for that quote, for saying like I don't condemn them because they didn't do anything to me. Okay, sure. Like, so evil people are not evil because they weren't evil against my people. Okay.
Actually, a number of.
Not that I'm saying like the North Vietnamese people. I mean, just that principle doesn't make any sense.
Can I respond, please?
Well, one second, Yotam. I'm just going to give you one more chance, Jamal, because you've avoided the question.
One more chance, guys. This is, again, now you'll see the tactic that they use when you corner them and you have to tell them that this is the moment. I'm not going to give you any more chance. Do you condemn Hamas or not? And again, this is the last card that they have to play, and he plays it, and Pierce falls for it. Watch this, okay? This is a magic trick.
And you may have your own reasons for doing that, but you talked very strongly against the IDF and Israel and what they have done. And I think it is entirely reasonable for me to just ask you one more time. You don't have to answer, but it'd be very telling if you don't, in my estimation. Do you condemn the slaughter of so many civilians and the kidnap of so many civilians on October the 7th?
I condemn the slaughter of any civilian anywhere in the world. It's as simple as that.
Look, this is when you have to push them. Will you say the sentence, I condemn Hamas?
And that is my personal.
And Piers Morgan doesn't do that. He thinks he answered. Look at
of
this.
Any civilian anywhere in the world. It's as simple as that. And that is my personal thing. I do not believe a single civilian, regardless of their race, regardless of their religion, regardless of their political belief, any civilian anywhere in the world should be killed. And that is a consistent belief that I have always had as a human being that believes in the sanctity of human life. And that is applies to regardless of who the perpetrator is. There is no justification for the deliberate killing of any civilian, regardless of their gender, their age, their skin color, their religion, whatever their beliefs may be.
Okay, thank you. I got a clear answer there.
No, Pierce, no. You didn't. You were fooled. You were tricked, Pierce. You should have then said, like, okay, well, does that mean then that you condemn Hamas? Can you actually say that sentence? Pierce, you didn't get a clear answer, because here's the thing. These people don't consider Israelis to be civilians. These people consider Israelis, every single one of them, because Israelis, they serve in military, so they're all considered military. They're all considered combatant. They're all considered occupiers. So you should have said, well, the next question would be, okay, well, the people who died on October 7th, were some of them civilians? Yes or no? Like, okay, yes. Well, then would you, given based on the two premises, then we have to come with conclusion that you condemn Hamas. Would you say that I condemn Hamas? Can you just say I condemn Hamas? Can you say that? That's what Pierce should have done. He didn't do that. He should have done that. Okay. Unbelievable. Anyways, we got another super chat. Thank you so much. GoatHub.com saying 100% there was some kind of journalist on October 7th. Yeah, there were. Yeah, there were journalists on October 7th. So does he condemn that? I mean, he talks about journalists. What about children? Babies. Holy crap. I mean, this is obvious. This is a terrorist sympathizer. Al Jazeera hires terrorists and terrorist sympathizers, apparently. And this was a disgrace. And Piers, you should have done better. Okay, guys, I'm going to go to my personal channel. My personal channel is called Armin Navabi. I'm going to start a show there in 20 minutes. I'm going to end this show. On that show, I don't talk about politics there. You know, not everything I talk about is politics. Over there, I talk about, AI and how to use AI to get ahead of everyone else. And my next show is called AI will wipe out entire industries. Okay, so in 20 minutes, I'm going to go to this is my Atheist Republic channel, where we talk politics and religion and culture and wokeism and Marxism and stuff like that. Mostly Islam and, stuff in the Middle East. But also, I have a personal channel where we talk about other things. It's a smaller channel and there's less people in the live chat. So it's like more cozy there. So come over there if you're interested in that type of topic. Again, I'm going to do a live stream in 20 minutes. It's called AI will wipe out entire industries. So if you're interested in that, come over there. But if you're still here, like the goddamn stream. Like the stream right now. This stream deserves a like. And if you didn't like it, dislike the stream. You could punish me. You could punish this live stream by hitting the dislike button. Okay? So if you didn't like it, dislike it. And if you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you hate us, if you hate this channel, make sure you hit the bell notification so that next time we go live, you come and tell us. You come right here and tell us how evil. Come here and hit the bell notification. So as soon as we go live, you're the first one in line to come here and tell every single one of us how evil, how genocide loving we are. Okay, do that. And there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys. This was fun. This was interesting, and I'll see you again same time tomorrow. Okay, I'm Israel Chai, Javid Shah. Mwah. See you guys.